Good evening and welcome to the Shadows of Drakkenheim. This is the Dungeon Dudes weekly Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live stream campaign. My name is Monty Martin, running our game as Dungeon Master.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin, playing Wilhelm Wolfsbane, the human swashbuckler rogue. And we're joined today by our good friends.
Jill Denitis, playing Rudy Whitaker, the shifter Eldritch Knight.
And Joe O'Gorman, playing Wrath, the Aasimar Warlock.
Thank you for joining us once again. If you are just tuning in for the very first time, welcome. We are the Dungeon Dudes, and Kelly and I post new videos every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube, where we cover everything D&D, including advice for players and guides for dungeon masters. So check us out at youtube.com/dungeondudes.
And you can join us live on Tuesday nights when we record the campaign live on Twitch. You can check us out from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/dungeon_dudes. You can also watch the video episodes of the show on YouTube, and you can check us out on podcast as well, either at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Spotify.
And we are very excited to announce that our very first Kickstarter is launching next Monday. On June 28th, Dungeons of Drakkenheim, the 5th edition module based on the events of the first season of our show, Dungeons of Drakkenheim, is coming to Kickstarter, and you will be able to pick this book up your very self. You can back us on Kickstarter, the book, and a ton of cool add-ons as well. If you have always wondered, what kind of cool things do we have in store, we are so excited to share this with you all. It will be a complete guide for characters level 1 to 13 so that you can recreate your own Dungeons of Drakkenheim adventure at your own game table, featuring all the locations from the first season of our show, guides to all 5 of the factions, our rules for Eldritch Contamination, all new spells, monsters, and everything that you need to decide the fate of Drakkenheim for yourself. You might not have a Shadows of Drakkenheim campaign following your Drakkenheim campaign, because your ending could be very different. Maybe your characters will work for the Queen of Thieves. Maybe your characters will join the followers of the Falling Fire. Maybe your characters will destroy the Tower of the Amethyst Academy and burn Drakkenheim to the ground. All the possibilities that didn't happen in the first season, well, you could play those out at your table. So we are so excited. If you go to Drakkenheim.com, you can sign up for the mailing list, or you can follow the links below, which will actually take you to the pre-launch Kickstarter page, and you can follow that so that you are notified the moment it goes live. And with that, let us return to the Shadows of Drakkenheim.
Drakkenheim is no more. For 15 years, we foolishly believed the madness and mayhem of that crumbling city was confined to the ruins. We were wrong. Insidious horrors have crept out of the shadow of Drakkenheim into a world unprepared for such nightmares. Tales of strange magic, swirling haze, and unspeakable terrors echo through the villages and towns surrounding that accursed place. Now, the Dusk Wardens, a new band of heroes, are tasked with driving out the seeping tendrils of the spreading darkness before it takes root.
Welcome back to the Shadows of Drakkenheim. When last we left our heroes, they had made the journey from Emberwood Village on the outskirts of Drakkenheim itself to the village of Castleholm, which lies in the eastern reaches of Westamar. This small village is only a mile or so away from the ancient castle of Castleholm itself, the ancestral seat of House von Kessel before the von Kessels took up the mantle of the royal family of Westamar. Our heroes had a strange encounter with a headless horseman along the road on their way to Castleholm, and arrived in the village of Castleholm to discover that the hooded lanterns have shown up in Kesselholm, and the former leader of the Hooded Lanterns, now the Lieutenant Commander Elias Drexel, is scheduled to meet with the Countess Constance Kleinkessel, who now rules Kesselholm, about military aid for the Hooded Lanterns in their in the approaching attack of the Silver Order, which is now on its way towards Drakkenheim. So our heroes have been left with many, many mysteries. What was the origins of this headless horseman who the local legends claim is Dulan, the slain son of Manfred von Kessel, looking for revenge? Or and where exactly is all the delirium that our heroes detected here in Kesselholm, and how did it get here? We meet our heroes in the Moose and Squirrel Tap House, where the short, round-nosed innkeeper in his black vest and jackets has been regaling our heroes with the local legends as they meet with Petra and Ansem, captains of the Hooded Lanterns. Our heroes went off to their own rooms to plan their next move, and that is where we jump in. The final offer that was put on the table is that Petra did offer to check in with Elias Drexel and the Countess to make arrangements for our heroes to meet with the Countess once Elias Drexel concluded his business. So that is the only outstanding fact. What would you like to do next?
My friends, it appears that we have a mystery on our hands, and I would make the assumption that one will lead to the other, and in the mystery of finding out where the delirium is in Kesselholm, we should investigate the mystery of this Dulan and this supposed ghost that stalks the woods nearby. As the ghosts, I don't know. My assumption is that most problematic curiosities seem to be linked to delirium, and the fact that there is delirium here and a ghost now stalking the countryside would reason to that one might have to do with the other. But I'm also open to suggestions if either of you have other thoughts.
I mean, it is mighty curious that there is a headless ghost rider attacking people in the countryside. I would say that if we were going to go about our business freely without fearing for this ghost, it might be good to get him out of the way. And he might lead us to delirium. You're right. I mean, there has been a connection to some weird happenings and delirium, so would not surprise me. Wrath?
I wish to gain the power to survive without one's head. I think that might be quite favorable in the years to come, especially after he attacked me with his giant sword.
Well, it would enable you to stick your head in portals without risking losing them.
Fascinating.
I mean, you have done the whole fingers thing, so I mean, that's just a few more steps to have in your head and you'd be fine.
My head does need to visit the dimension of Bruce one day.
I mean, it wouldn't be such a loss, right?
I know you are upset.
Bruce looks at you, Wrath, and you hear in your mind, "Don't get ahead of yourself."
Look, I would say that then this headless creature, I do not know if it is a creature of delirium. It has not shown any other qualities, tentacles, eyes. It actually has less eyes than anything we've ever encountered.
Bruce says to you, "You think you will have power in surviving without a head, but you will not have power until you can survive without a body."
This is true, Bruce. I wish to learn these secrets. Please indulge me. I'm forever in your servitude.
You may have seen a cat without a grin, but I will show you a grin without a cat in time.
and I fall to my into my bed, clutching my head and murmuring to myself, in both desperation and awe.
Wrath, are you okay? You just kind of toppled over there in the middle of a
My
sentence.
cat is speaking. Silence.
The cat's licking its butt.
Either way, the Headless Horseman, if it isn't of delirium, perhaps it was conjured here by somebody who is using delirium. I'm very much keen to discover who the identity of this Dulan is.
I mean, yeah, he didn't have, per se, a head, so we don't even know if the rumors are true about him being the son of Manfred von Kessel. I mean, could it have to do with some sort of history there? I don't know.
It may be a trick, although we do know one thing. We are in search of delirium. And if this creature leads us to delirium, so be it, but we must find it first. We have time before our meeting with the Countess.
It might also stand to reason that the Countess could give us insight into any of the ongoings in town, perhaps trading and selling of delirium, or the rumors of Dulan. Maybe she will have some insight into this mystery as well, be able to answer at least a few questions to push us on the right path.
I agree. I mean, there might be some rumblings that she might have heard of.
Yes, the innkeeper did tell you that this Dullahan has struck before in the area, so it's not like there have not been previous victims either.
Perhaps if we ask around, perhaps here in the inn, maybe find out where the attacks have happened and whether it's one side of Kesselholm, whether it's all around Kesselholm, whether it's kind of concentrating around a certain location. Perhaps just like back in Schafberg, this will lead us into the swamps or into the forests where there is a secret hideout. I'm speculating, obviously, but so far everywhere we go, there seems to be a trail to follow. One of the rules, there's always a trail to follow. And if we can pick up that trail, I believe that the Dulan is a creature of flesh and blood, and I will discover it.
This town, does it have any sense of, am I getting like an Ash Bay vibe where there's like a mist hanging over it? Like, it's so close to Drakkenheim, it's got this huge concentration of delirium. Am I getting any kind of breathing difficulties, sense that there's
no, actually you are the investigating around, the clouds have not broken over where you are, and there has been a fair amount of mist, but whatever effect manifests the haze, people, if this mist is the haze, it's not in a high enough concentration to prevent you from resting.
This might be beneficial, friends. I still contain large 17-inch scars of flaming blade on my body.
You should get those looked at. They might...
I believe a good night's sleep might be the cure-all.
It always is, seems to be.
So I think we'll rest a bit and then move on to questioning some of the folks around here.
Yes, because it is the evening, isn't it? Is it the evening?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so perhaps a good night's sleep will do us well. We can rest up and hopefully recover from our encounter with this headless beast. And in the morning, approach it with fresh eyes and ears and nose. Let's see what we can discover.
I say we head down now and then get up early and get out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, you are all able to pass the night and take a rest with that. I'll have each of you roll me a d6.
I love doing this.
4.
5.
3.
Okay. It's the evening passes surprisingly, despite all the events of the day. You're pretty exhausted from travel, and you all sleep quite well through the night. And waking up in the morning, there is there's already the smell of fresh coffee and bacon filling the and is that maple smoked bacon? It's got a very distinct sugary bacony smell filling the air.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've had maple smoked bacon. It is an absolute treat. Have you two ever had it?
Of course I have. Oh my. It's a treat. It doesn't come around often, of course, but let's go get some. I'm ready.
I've never tried this maple. Bruce, have you? Have you tasted this aroma?
Bruce nods. I shall. And downstairs, the innkeeper is preparing several rashers of this maple smoked bacon and crepes. And there's jugs of maple syrup and some fresh picked berries of various kinds that you can have your crepes with.
Oh, well, this looks like...
And some cream, some cream as well.
Mm. Innkeep, I'll take 3 of each, and then these two can order whatever they want.
Hungry.
A round of crepes and bacon.
I will have 1 cup of cream, please.
Bruce looks at you as you order the cream.
This is for you.
Bruce consumes the cream.
1 saucer, please. And I lick it too. That's how I eat too.
You and Bruce are sharing the saucer of cream.
So the short innkeeper says, "I wish that was the weirdest thing that I had seen in my life."
Oh no!
I look up. There's cream on my face.
Do you take your mask off?
Yes.
Yeah. What's happening under there?
I lift it up because your mind can't perceive what's under there.
Just imagine it. You kept it on and it's dripping from the front.
I do. I'd absorb it through the mask. What we are intrigued by this Dulan character. We look to meet others who have had encounters with this creature that we can share experience with.
Well, if you there's a few that you might talk to. The Beatrix runs the apiary and the meadery with her son. Her husband was killed by Dulan not long ago. You might speak with her. But be gentle, of course. The local druid out at the Stones of Cromac, you might talk with Craig. He claims to know. I don't know what that crazy old man believes, but so be it. Of course, the Flamekeeper, here, she has tended most of the bodies and seen to their cremations, so speaking to Flamekeeper Mina, she would be able to tell you the full record of who all has died in the village.
Thank you kindly for that information. We will do our best to be gentle when we talk to them, because of course we know losing a family member is tough.
Just be careful if you speak with the Flamekeeper. She has she's been taking up some crazy thoughts of late.
What kind of crazy thoughts you mean?
She made a pilgrimage to Drakkenheim not long ago and has returned.
Oh, so she's converted in her faith, is what you're saying.
She still serves the village, but and many have since believed her. But if you don't follow what they're teaching, you best give her a bit of a berth.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the information. We will be delicate with that situation as well. Anyone else around town who might be able to pass on some information about this Dulon?
You might talk to Burgomaster Leah.
Burgomaster.
Well, that sounds like a good start. A few leads to follow, and the investigation begins. Where would you guys like to start?
Yeah, so
My friends.
from speaking with Boris, he mentioned to you the burgomaster, the flamekeeper, the meadery, who the former co-owner of the meadery was actually slain, as well as the druid. So, as possible leads of people you might talk to for more information.
I look up from my saucer. This druid, Cromac.
Craig is his name. Craig Thistleward. He follows an old god called Cromac.
As one with nature, he may be more in tune with some of the goings-ons that happen in the woods and on the trails. I have a respect for animals and nature as much as I do power, and he might be worth speaking to, especially if he has been dismissed before.
I think that sounds like a good place to start. If the attacks are coming from the woods or the surrounding area, a druid should have a good lay of the land.
And then I think, depending on what information we get from Craig, Burgomaster might be a good one, because they might have some more general going-ons, have me talk to more people, have done some investigating themselves, and they might be able to pass on some more info.
I do think that our last resort should be the church. I don't really care to get involved with any cults today.
But let us keep our mission secret. The hunt for delirium is really our prime objective. And the hope is that this Dulon leads us to the delirium. And I do want my revenge, but he is but a footnote in why we came.
Yes, but a curious footnote that requires investigation, and I'm keen to observe this. Rule number 30, truth always has a way of coming out, and I think discovering this truth will be vital for us.
Agreed.
Very well then. So you will head towards the stones and seek out Craig Thistleward, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The stones of Cromac lie on the western edge of. You have to take southwest out of town, cross the bridge, and then the stones of Cromac lie on a precipice overlooking Lake Dray, on the edge of the forest, where on a rock that is jutting out over the lake itself are arranged several standing stones in a rough circular formation. As you approach, you can see you can see some of the standing stones as you come up along the shore of the lake, and then follow a pathway up through the wood to where the altar actually is. And the altar of Cromac consists of 5 pairs of these standing stones surrounding an altar that the stone is a crimson red with ancient bloodstains, and there are chimes of bones that are set in the trees all around. For Cromac is the hunter, the ravener, the predator, who stalks the woods. An ancient and terrible god that is worshipped only for fear and power. As you approach the stones of the Shrine of Cromac, you can see that there is a figure that is wearing a cloak of deerskin and has a mantelpiece that is these large antlers, with a sort of a headpiece of antlers and a mantle of moss that he wears over his shoulders. The man is long-faced, almost horse-faced, and beneath the deerskin cloak, he simply wears a belted set of loincloths and several pouches, but is otherwise bare-chested. And you can see that he almost has an emaciated figure, but one that is ripped with taut muscles. And his entire body, though, is covered in ritual scars.
Well, this should be a treat.
And as you come up the way, he says, "Who dares approach the shrine of Cromac, the ravener, the hungerer?"
Just some fellow hunters.
Fellow hunters? What are the spoils of your latest kill?
Oh, I rifle around in the bag. This might be, I might not have actually done this, but can I pull out like a Hydra tooth or something from the Hydra, or should I just not have that?
You know what? That's completely reasonable. Provided, roll me a d6.
I got a 4.
Yeah. So you have a tooth from the Hydra.
I mean, it was one that was stuck in me, so I found it.
You pulled it out many days later.
Yeah. So I hold it up and like, this is the tooth of a Hydra that had a lot of heads. Very dangerous monster.
The druid reaches out with a muscled limb to grab the tooth, and he brings it up to his face and he smells it. And then he says, "Give me your hand." He takes it and smells your hand. "Your blood is on this tooth."
Yes, it was a vicious battle, but we were the victors.
"You killed one who could have killed you. A fine hunter indeed. You have my respect. What brings you to the shrine of Cromac?"
Me and my friends here are investigating another dangerous game in the area, one supernatural in nature. We are investigating this Dulan, this headless horseman.
Ah, the headless rider. Indeed. A surreptitious foe. No less than a herald of the evil Morrigan, sent to defile this wilderness that is rightfully owned by Cromac.
Yes. Any news on it?
The headless rider, the herald of the Morrigan. Cromac and Morrigan fight an eternal war, hunting through the shadows for the souls of the lost and the prey. dragging them into the Shadowlands. It encroaches upon these lands that are rightfully the hunting grounds of the favored kin of Cromac.
Are there kin of the Morgan around?
The Dulan is the herald of the Morgan, and it has come to these lands to encroach upon Cromac's kin. I have seen it myself, but I am one with this land. The blood seeps deep within it, and by the blood of Cromac, it will not overtake me.
Good to hear. You said you've seen it. Where and when?
It is the standard tricks of Morgan. You will hear the cawing of crows or ravens. The mists will thicken. That is when Morgan sends her agent into the world through the space between the realms to stalk the nights for souls and vengeance. She has raised up that one of a vengeful soul to serve as her avatar in this world, stalking the nights until it finds her prey. But she revels in its madness. It will never find its quarry.
Why
That
not?
is not its purpose. Because it is nothing more than a tool of the Morgan. A puppet sent by her to cause death and to the followers of Cromac so that she may control these lands.
Craig, is it?
Yes.
You speak with the old gods, and...
No, I speak for Cromac!
Right, Cromac. One of the
The other gods are weak.
I believe you in that. And this Morgan figure, that is another lesser god than Cromac, correct?
One who purports to be even the equal of Cromac is none other than a charlatan and a liar.
And so, if I'm putting this together correctly, this headless horseman, the avatar of Morgan, would there need to be another party involved? Would Morgan summon this beast on their own accord, or is it that somebody is bringing it forth? Like Morgan often seeks out weak-willed sorcerers and scoundrel-like warlocks to offer them power and bargain so that they might serve her. That is not beyond her trickery and deception. Kelly, you got a little blurry. You might want to hold your hand up to the camera. There you go. Good.
I hear names of the old gods. Are there any others that are summoned in this area or connected?
Danu and Nuada once had druids here. We are far from the coast, so Nodens, though we are on the lake, Nodens has no power over the Lake Dray, though I am sure he lusts after its waters.
So...
But Lake Dray is where the chosen of Cromac may wash their hands in fur of blood. This is a sacred place for Cromac.
And knowing what you know about the Morgan, do you know what her weakness or her followers' weakness would be? What would be a way in which we can bring back the sanctity of this land for Cromac?
Morgan claims to have power over life and death, and thus thinks herself powerful. She says that she is the one who decides who lives and who dies, but it is not so. It is the predator, it is the hunter, who holds the power of life and death in the knife and fangs and bow. Her weakness is that she is not strong.
My friends, I have reason to believe that there is another party that needs to be discovered here. The Headless Horseman is a tool of the Morrigan, being summoned here by somebody.
I agree.
Some puppet of the Elder Gods, it seems.
Seemingly, the Elder Gods, yes.
In time, the pack will destroy and devour this Dulan. It is only a matter of time.
Well, perhaps in this instance we serve Cormac, for we are hunters. We slay great beasts. The thrill of the hunt is what has brought us here, and we seek to rid this land of Dulan.
If you wish to join the hunt, then, you may seek out the other followers of Cormac.
Where can we find them?
There is a lodge not far from here where they have taken up to dwell. The followers of Cormac have come here, and they dwell there now.
Interesting. Can you show me the way to the lodge? We have a map, so I imagine I can...
Yes, it was once called Kesselwald Lodge, once owned by the Von Kessels, but since the Countess has graciously granted it to the other followers of Cormac that have come here, you must prove yourself quite strong if you wish to join them.
Indeed. Well, thank you. This has been most helpful.
You are fascinating.
I turn and look at Wrath, who's been quiet this whole time.
Yes.
Anything else, Wrath?
If you would, there is a great warrior that the Countess has brought to these lands. He is chosen by Cormac. Rickard Steelfang. You would seek him out if you wish.
Rickard Steelfang. Also at the lodge?
Yes.
All right.
You are a hunter, but I sense that you as well, he points to Rudy, you bear the blood of Cormac in your veins. You are a great warrior, yes?
I've fought my own fair amount of battles in my day.
Do you kill in Cormac's name?
No, I don't.
Why do you deny the right of your blood?
I don't kill in anybody else's name anymore. That's not what I do.
Do you hunt?
I hunt for reasons. I don't hunt for the sake of hunting.
All who hunt in Cormac's name. There would not be the hunt were it not for Cormac. You should embrace it. You know the taste of hot blood, do you not? You know the feeling of the fang ripping into flesh.
Yes, she does.
You should open your heart to Cormac. I can smell it in your blood. The rage, the power. You resist the call, but you bear the cursed line. That's what they would call it. It is no curse. It is a blessing. Embrace it. Taste the hot blood.
I think I'll leave that for now, but I will not in any way fall prey to the animal in me, regardless of how much animal is there. I will always be in control.
Why would you not? When you surrender the control to Cormac, you will grow strong. Rickard Steelfang will show you the blessings of Cormac.
I am strong. I don't need no Chromac to help me with that.
Rudy, if you just say yes, maybe you'll get some new cool stuff. I don't know, like, might be cool.
Your friend speaks with reason.
Oh, you heard that. Sorry, I thought I was whispering.
It is not that you are not strong, but it is that Chromac is strength. Chromac is the wild. Chromac is the warrior. When you surrender yourself, your blood to Chromac, Chromac hunts through you.
I just turn and start to walk away because
Sir, it's been a
I'm just
pleasure.
like, enough nonsense.
Thank you.
Raph, you okay?
I turn to
Is that the offering that you have brought? He says, pointing to Bruce. It is a small and feeble animal indeed, but I am sure its blood will please Chromac if you wish to leave that as your offering to him before you depart.
Why not?
Listen, I am fascinated by you, Craig. You have given us much information, and for that I am thankful. We will seek out Rickard Steelfang. We join the hunt against Dulan. But this is no sacrifice.
He's quite fond of his cat. I hope you understand.
It is not a cat.
No, it is not. It is a kitten.
Wait, you've been telling me this whole time, Raph, that it's a cat. Why is it different now?
I admire your devotion, Craig, and I believe the things that separate us are what also make us so similar. I respect you and I am in awe of you, and I have had very mixed emotions about you. We will seek this Rickard Steelfang, and we will and I leave your presence.
Very well, kitten.
This got interesting.
You are not a kitten, and I to Bruce. You're not a little kitten. You're not a little kitten. You're a big boy. You're a big boy, aren't you?
Bruce purrs.
Come along, Bruce. And I'm gonna try to catch up with Rudy.
I was just like awkwardly standing waiting for Raph to finish up. I'm like, come on, man. We're good. We can leave. No, that got a little weird there, Raph.
Wow. What? It is always fascinating to meet those that devote themselves to lesser gods. But his devotion is admirable.
Admirable. Devote himself to being an animal is what he's doing.
Although I do agree, Rudy, you could really think about embracing what Cormac is saying. This Cormac, although not as powerful and wise and strong as Bruce, could unlock some potential. You could even be as strong as me one day.
Now let's be careful with giving ourselves over to elder gods. Rule number 62: those who make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. So, and then I kind of stop and glance over at Bruce and look back at Raph, and I'm like, so just keep that in mind, Rudy. That we don't want to go down that path if if we can avoid it.
I agree. I can respect those that can worship something that's bigger than them, but I'm not one for giving in completely to one's inner beast. I think it can come at a time and place where that strength can be used, but to just be a beast, nah. That's what separates us from those who cannot control themselves and worship death, in my opinion.
Bruce reaches into your mind, Wrath, and says, "It is funny that mortals believe that there is anything that separates them. The humans are animals. They just deny what they are. Kitten, wolf, puppy, all are specks of dust spewed out from stars."
I will be a star from dust. Bruce, you will show me the way.
What was
I
that,
say it
Wrath?
aloud.
Stars and dust? What's he talking about, Wilhelm?
I put my hand on Wrath's shoulder and like, Wrath, you know, I should tell you more often, but you are a star. You've been a star.
When I am a star, I will envelop this world.
See,
And I will burn this place to the ground. All will fear my... He was getting me riled up, that man.
he's making it weird again.
Pledging to this Cormac. These are but trifling between different... You can see now the spectrum of what Bruce has to sort of play with in this dance of the gods. He has to watch these lessers toil. Let us find this Morgan, deal with it, and move on.
Yes, Wrath.
Bruce speaks in your mind. Yes. Do not heed the petty gods of Earth. They cannot see what lies beyond the sphere they are so obsessed with. Earth's small, squabbling gods.
Yes,
to think
Wrath,
they still think you're a cat.
I understand the great cosmic battle between your pet cat and the druids of old, so I'm here with you. Whatever you are going on about, the answer is yes, Wrath. Yes.
We should be cautious, though. If there are multiple old gods having a squabble over this land, it's probably not going to be the only thing that we see going right here.
The thing about the
also-
old gods is they were never present, so usually it's just people claiming to know them, but there's no evidence, not the same way that there is for other entities in the world, but...
Yes, Wilhelm, with the common knowledge that you have, like...
I am proficient in history, not religion.
This is enough to know that, like, the standard line from the formal faith of the sacred flame is that the old gods are probably just demons, powerful demons, but probably just demons that claim to be gods.
Well, the fact is, as we do want to agree with the druid, because the druid hunts Dulon, and so do we. And although the druid is not an enemy, I will remind you that the enemy of our enemy is our friend. And so, in this case, whether we agree with the druids or not is of little concern. Whether they are hunting the same thing we are hunting is of great importance.
I do not wish to lose myself. This Craig, this entity, this Cormac, I will not pledge myself to fight for it. I fight for Bruce, and I fight for him alone. And we should hide our identities to the best of our ability.
I agree. And nobody's pledging anything. We're just on the same path as them at the moment.
So, having spoken with Craig Thistleward, he mentioned to you of this Steelfang fellow who dwells at Kesselwald Lodge. That is that's a fair trek into the Kesselwald forest, probably about a half day's journey. So it would be something that there and back again would be a full day's trek. You could set out now and perhaps seek lodgings there if you wanted to, or you could follow up some of the other leads in town. It's really up to you.
I would say if we are gonna go to the lodge, then we at least let the Hooded Lanterns know where we're gonna be.
we need like a buddy system. If we go to this lodge and we don't come back, please come looking for it.
Well, I just assumed that if they were gonna come find us about getting us the audience, and we're like just out of here,
Yeah, we should check in and see what the deal is with our audience, and I might get you two to talk to them. I may have embarrassed myself last time.
Yeah, of course we can. We can just check in. Maybe one of us can run in and just connect, or we can all go in. It's all up to you. I mean, do we want to go see the burgomaster before checking in with them? Do we want to follow up on a couple more leads or go straight to them? I figure we should give them maybe some time before checking to see what's what.
Yeah.
Yes, we should seek out more information before we head to this lodge. This may be a lead, but it's the fanatics. He is one. I believe we are safe amongst him, but when there are many, who knows what they might get up to.
So follow up on a few more leads before getting ourselves into a bit more trouble is what you're saying, Wrath.
Yes.
I concur.
I'll protect you though, don't worry. And I flex my muscle.
I will kill any who stand in the way of Bruce.
Well, sounds like berries to me.
And I'm stroking him.
That druid really woke something up in you, Wrath. I want to call it an evil that I didn't fully understand was present, but maybe we'll just call it a
aggression,
a flair for murder.
He calls himself a predator and hangs bones. This can be shocking when I twist into people's minds and send them to places that their nightmares have not dreamed of. There's no bones left.
That was beautiful. I'm going to write that down. Nightmares have not dreamed of. Really compelling, Wrath.
Let us seek the burgomaster.
Okay. So, heading back towards the town proper, you cross through the main drag of the village of Kesselholm towards the burgomaster's villa. This, unlike many of the other homes around Kesselholm, this is one of the few buildings of brick and mortared stone. It is a rather stately manor house that is about 3 stories high, that is roughly in that sort of C-shape sort of building. So there's the central double doors with the 2 wings coming out around it, and there's a wrought iron fence with a rather well-tended garden out around it. It is a modest but fine manor house with tall slate-shingled steeples and kind of nice weather vane decorations and various architectural adornments across the windows. All of the windows are set with glass and shut, and you notice that the windows actually all have iron bars up and down that have been put in the windows, and then a very thick looking purple drape closes all the windows.
like someone doesn't want anything getting in. Look at how thick those curtains are. I bet that would keep someone out.
Should we just knock, or?
I knock on the door.
It's a very heavy knocker on the door, one of those kind of like embossed round iron knockers with like sort of a wolf's head holding onto the knocker. So you knock on it, and a very a small halfling man answers the door. He is wearing a blue velvet suit, and he has his graying hair kind of slicked back, and he's holding a towel in one hand, and you can see that beside him is another maid that is carrying a bucket of water, and he says, "What business do you have with the burgomaster?"
Hello there, sir. My name is Sheriff Rudy Whitaker. These are my two companions with me, and we heard that your master, mistress, whatever, is potentially has some information for us about some mysteries that are happening about this Dulan character. We were wondering if Burgomaster had some time to talk us through some of that.
Burgomaster Fassbender is quite ill, but this has been a matter of some concern of late. If you would like to come and speak with her, I must ask that you take the utmost care and precaution. Do you understand?
I mean, are you concerned that we're gonna get sick, or
no,
we're gonna get something?
Protect yourself. The burgomaster suffers from quite a wasting sickness, and with the condition of our flamekeeper has not been able to get the the requisite care that we would normally seek out for her. He gestures to the foyer, where pretty much all the lights are out in the house, and he picks up a small candle, and there's a bowl of water and several satin gloves and white masks, and he asks if you would please wash your hands and take up these gloves and masks before you may see her.
Of course, we will do anything that you wish if we may have an audience with the burgomaster. Kindly appreciated, thank you. And I put on the
mask on a mask.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, I say as I wash my hands clean and put on the gloves and mask.
All right. Taking the candle in one hand, he leads you through the very dusty the manor itself is dark, but it is without any dust or cobwebs. Like, it is otherwise utterly immaculate. And he leads you through the darkened halls to a study room, which has a great mantelpiece with a burning fire. And seated upon an upholstered chair is a woman who is swaddled in blankets. And she is pale. All the color gone from whatever pigment might have been in her skin is gone, and her face is sallow, such that she could easily be 30 or 300 from the look on her face, and she is swaddled in these blankets and clothes, and somewhat rocking beneath all the blankets. And she says, "Boro, they're visitors?"
Yes, ma'am. We were hoping to talk to you about some of the going-ons around your town here, if you don't mind. Of course, if you're up for it. We don't mean to intrude.
Mr. Boro, would you like a drink, Mr. Boro? And perhaps Mr. Boro is the steward, and he says, "Madam, they must keep their masks on. They cannot drink with you. You are too weak." And she nods. Much trouble has come to my town of late, and I am too weak to do anything about it. What would I even be able to do to advise you in this state? Look at me.
Before I answer, is there a fireplace?
Yeah, it is blazing.
Blazing.
Yeah.
And is she by the fireplace?
Yeah, the seat is moved right up by the fireplace, and she's swaddled in blankets behind her, and there's sweat dripping down her face.
Well, ma'am, I appreciate your condition talking to us, because you can see that obviously you're ill, and we don't mean to intrude, but we have come across this Dulon character, and we were hoping to help this town and get any information that you might be able to provide so we can potentially help you with this problem that you have going on.
It is the Countess's problem now. It is the Countess has said that she will handle it. There is nothing to worry. She said that she would take care of it.
Well, we're here to help the Countess as well. We have not had a chance to speak to the Countess yet, but we heard you might have some information for us that would help us help the Countess as well. So, if you don't mind, do you know what's going on with this Dulon character?
I know very little aside from something stalks the woods of our town, killing. Many have been maimed and mauled horrifically, others beheaded, no sign of their heads whatsoever.
The heads were taken.
Yes. The bodies have been kept by the Flamekeeper for proper cremation. I have not seen any of them myself.
During this conversation, I'm standing as close as comfortable and observing, watching her as she speaks. Can I determine any similarities between her ailments and what we have previously seen from people infected with delirium or delirium-related things?
Sure. Are you proficient in medicine?
I am proficient in survival.
Okay.
And investigation.
Give me an investigation check then.
Uh, 19.
Looking around, this woman is not suffering from any form of delirium contamination. But on which you can rule out from just looking around, like, you would need to see the rest of her body, but typically there is some sort of signs of an octarine glow or some sort of visible effect that if someone is suffering from a mutation or contamination in some way. This woman looks like she is suffering. Like it's hard to say, but what it does remind you of just looking at her is someone who's bleeding out. She has the pallor of someone who is on the brink of death from severe blood loss.
Oh, so like me just a few days ago.
I want to go up to her and with a gloved hand, I want to touch her shoulder and I want to prestidigitate. I'm assuming she has like a blanket or something around her to warm it as I kind of talk to her, like kind of a motherly, kind of soothing. And I say, "What's wrong? What happened to you? This is not normal sickness. Tell us what's going on."
No, it's not. I must say I know not at all what has befallen me. It just I have endured like this for some time. I started noticing only a few years ago that I became sick, and it has just worsened and worsened ever since. It slowly, whatever it is, it was thought that perhaps I had cancer or some sort of other sickness of the body, but it is the Flame Keepers have not seen to me. They have now turned away from the sacred flame, and she refuses to treat me whilst I still hold to my old beliefs.
This burgomaster, may I? And I reach out a hand, and I'm just gonna go on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And gently, just touching her shoulder on the other side, I want to cast Identify as a ritual spell.
Okay. As you work to cast the Identify spell, give me a check with your spellcasting ability.
Um, 25.
It is difficult to okay. So she is not affected by a spell, but some sort of supernatural charm effect is afflicting her.
But not like a traditional spell that's been cast.
It's not you with your check result, it wouldn't be unlike Charm Person, or even a more powerful version in that line of spells, but it's not a spell that's causing this.
Interesting. I share my findings. This woman is afflicted with something.
I've ruled out delirium sickness. There's none of that color that we're used to seeing, and no visible mutations. What did you find, Wrath?
Whatever this.
Again, what I will also say is that she's still covered in blankets, and none of you have asked to examine. Like, you're just doing a service level.
No, that it seems a little intrusive at the moment.
Give me your blankets.
Remove the blankets, lady. No, we're being gentle at first.
Maybe was there an event that preceded this sickness?
Since the sickness has started, I have not slept well since I can remember, and I am haunted by nightmares. Oh.
Can you describe your nightmares, if you will?
It is like some great winged beast is chasing me through my own home, and it catches me and devours me.
Same nightmare every time?
Every time. Maybe 2-3 times a week. Then in others, I just have dreams of darkness.
And when did these start? You said a few years ago?
Yes.
If I could ask a follow-up question, and forgive the intrusion here, but have you had any changes in your body? Any changes in your limbs, appendages, things shifting, or...
I am so weak I can barely lift my limbs.
Would you mind if we just remove the blankets just for a moment? We'll put them right back, and Rudy can help warm you up again. I just would feel more confident if the three of us took a look and tried to determine if there was anything possibly wrong with you that could be a clue for us.
She looks to her butler, and the butler nods and says, "This is the best treatment we've had in years." And you remove the swaddling, and she actually has what is probably ankle length hair, which perhaps once would have been jet black, but is now completely white. It is, despite the rest of her form, her hair is thick.
If you don't mind me asking, I know it's usually impolite to ask this, but could you tell me your age, ma'am?
Oh, I'm not but 40.
Concerning.
Yeah. I was wondering, I mean, we can ask the gentleman to step outside, but may I examine you to make sure that we know exactly what's going on, if you feel comfortable? I know we just met, but we really want to help you, and the best way we can do so is to see exactly what we have going on here.
Sure, you guys can give me a group persuasion check.
Uh, 17.
11.
7.
Okay. She says, if the men go, you may, yes.
Wrath, let's go talk in the other room about our findings, see if we can conclude anything important.
Respectfully, just get out of there.
Certainly.
Wait outside
Rudy,
the door.
As they leave, what would you like to inspect?
I want to essentially, like, bring what I assume is a nightgown. Is she wearing a nightgown?
Yeah.
Up her arms, so I don't have to necessarily take it off. See her arms, see her legs, and then, if she feels comfortable, just kind of like opening up the middle, but nothing where I'm like exposing her. Give
me a perception check.
Okay.
You're doing like a check on your kid when they like fall, or they.
yeah. I'm kind of doing the once over. Perception. 12.
Okay. Immediately when you bring the sleeve up on her arm, you can see that inside of her lower forearm are her arms are covered in scabs. There are circular scabs all up and down her forearms, on the inside, but only on the palm side, and they're all going up and down her arms. And looking around, there's a few of these scabs elsewhere on her body, usually on her limbs, and many of these scabs all along the back of her neck. And there's scars from them as well.
And I just ask her, I'm like, is there anything else that's around that is like these scars and scabs?
Since the sickness started, they've been getting worse.
Worse. All right, I'm going to cover you up, and we'll get the boys in here, and we'll ask him maybe some more questions if you're up for it, of course. And I start to prestidigitate and warm the blanket again.
Sure. Do you want to confer amongst yourselves then?
Yeah.
What is it? Rudy, have you seen this before?
I mean, have I seen this before?
No. You've never seen anything like this before.
I've never seen anything like this before, so...
Me neither.
I can't tell.
But her arms... It was very bad on her arms and the back of her neck, although there were these others, like very fine, slightly circular scabs all over her body, of varying, some quite recent looking, and some were now just scar tissue.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had hoped it would be delirium. Rule number 32, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't, and in this case, delirium would have been familiar at this point. But we have a headless beast that doesn't match any of the mutations or creatures that we fought before. We have a sick woman with no signs that point to delirium as the cause. In this case, we're dealing with a completely new devil. Somehow there's delirium in this place, and I would assume that I don't bank on coincidences. There's a headless horseman. This woman has fallen ill around the same time that it appeared. It can't just be chance.
We can rule out delirium by examining the property. We will ask this fellow if we may examine the grounds and anything underneath. This could be a link, although we can just rule it out.
Does it make sense for one of us to remain and continue to ask questions? Because we still need to ask her about her experiences with Dulon.
I mean, I could stay and I can ask her. I mean, if she's going to open up about anything personal, it might be to me. And if you guys want to go examine the property and come together and find some more information.
Okay.
We'll see what we can uncover.
So Rudy is going to continue to speak with Leah, and Wilhelm and Wrath patrol the grounds.
And if you guys, I'm going to send Houdini with y'all, and if something happens, just send him right back to me, and I'll know to come find you.
And I'll leave Bruce with you.
Okay,
so he can,
sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, I want to check out, like, around the area, get a sense of, like, do they have any cellars? Is there a boarded up well? Because last time, we remember, it was the close delirium that was, buried in the shed. That was the cause. So I'm going to look for something that sort of relates to that, just to rule it out, or hopefully find them. Yeah,
so you head down to the cellar. It's a fairly normal wine cellar and pantry. The overall house is 3 stories, so there's the 2 plus an attic, and there is a central chimney that it serves as the fireplace through the whole home, and there is a local well which is not boarded up. It's a covered well that is just for the area. The home even has its own indoor latrines and its own sort of bit of plumbing in that regard. So it is a very well put together and fine home. What is there any part of the home specifically that you'd like to examine, the two of you?
I would like to draw some water from the well just to see if there's any hint of octarine or anything like that.
Yeah, you draw some water from the well. Give me an investigation check.
That's going to be an 18.
No sign of any contamination in the water.
Wrath?
I will proceed to the attic.
Nice.
Things love attics.
Yeah.
Yeah. You the butler leads you up to the attic, which is, compared to the rest of the house, it is exceptionally drafty. And there are and as you head up into the attic, there's old furniture up here, and there's actually, like, there's kind of that whistling of wind from what must be a hole in the roof somewhere of some kind. And the end of the chimney, there's several crates up here and draped over old pieces of furniture, and unlike the rest of the house, it's not nearly as well maintained. But you can give me an investigation check.
Can Wilhelm help?
Wilhelm can make the investigation check if you want him to come up.
Yeah, I do, and I put my hand on his shoulder. I say, "Look closely," and I cast guidance.
Okay.
Right. I'm glad you cast guidance because those were both pretty garbage rolls. I get a 14.
Something, perhaps it's the wind, but the dust up in this room is kicked up quite regularly.
I look for signs of repeated, like places that might seem less dusty than others, like things that may have been dragged or moved, or footprints.
Yeah,
or
sure. Give me a
frequented-
survival check.
19.
There is a distinct trail. You know when you see a dusty street and like you can see like dust devils get kicked up?
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like there's patterns of dust devils on the floor that form between, well, several of the holes in the ceiling. They're just cracks, really. Like there's one of the windows up here has just a crack or two in it, and the stone that's part of the chimney that cuts through the rooftop, there's several holes in it.
I don't immediately tell Wrath this, and instead I turn to Wrath and I say, Wrath, would you mind walking forward just like 5 steps? I'm directing him into
I do it. I'm like, and I'm looking for your like.
Yep, just a little bit further. All right, stop. What do you feel? I've basically directed Wrath into the area that seems like it's kicking up the dust devils and has all the cracks and holes.
Yeah, there's no wind. There is a draft in this room, but in the path where the dust devils, the signs of the dust devils are, there's nothing.
Wrath, do you feel, is there a wind? Is there strong wind, a breeze, anything?
I know that Bruce is downstairs with Rudy, so I'm gonna snap my fingers and have him disappear, and then again reappear with us.
Okay.
And I look to Bruce and I say, do you feel it? Is this a thin place?
No. This is no thin place.
You have done well. And I pull out some of the my kept food and I give it to him as a treat.
Rudy, we go to you. What are your questions for Leah?
So I kind of lean down again. I'm kind of warming her, and I say, "With these, are these scabs just appearing, or are they caused by something?"
They break out. I notice more of them coming every couple of days.
And they break out as a scab, or do they break out as something and turn into a scab?
Sometimes they're bleeding.
And you said it was a few years ago.
Yes, I started to notice at first I still felt strong, but I was noticing the scabs, and they would be fresh. They would still be bleeding. Usually they would always show up in pairs.
And when this happened, this is going to seem a bit strange, but how long have your flame keepers been converted into the fallen fire?
Flamekeeper Mina was one of the earliest to go follow Lucretia Matthias. So that was only a few years ago, but it was before I started to get weak. I didn't go to her at first. I just thought it was, I thought at first when they first started showing up that maybe I'd been bitten by insects, to be honest. And I had the place clean for bed bugs and fleas and thought, maybe it was flea bites. And it wasn't for a while that it got bad. and that it wasn't insects at all.
And I mean, I know there's some pretty big bugs in the woods, so of course that would be maybe your first thought. But have you no doctors around here, and the flame keepers aren't here helping you? Isn't that their duty to help people?
The Countess's doctor did come to see me and said that he could not figure out what it was.
And no other strange happenings, no new people in town happened around that time that you can remember?
Well, the newest person in Kesselholm of any note is the Countess herself. And
did she arrive in or around that time, or has she been there before you got sick?
It was after I didn't get sick until after the unfortunate events. So it would have been
events.
Well, perhaps you haven't been in town long, but you know our recent history of our nation, yes? The unfortunate event when Manfred von Kessel and his family was murdered, betrayed by his own... Well, it wasn't his own soldiers at all. It turned out that a group of mercenaries had replaced his knights to act as security for a wedding that was supposed to be an alliance that was going to end the war. It was to an Illyrian prince. He was marrying his daughter to an Illyrian prince. And the wedding, all his own knights and his own guards had been replaced by a group of mercenaries. And now, of course, the Countess has hired those very same mercenaries. They're supposed to be the ones protecting our town.
They hired the same ones that betrayed the Von Kessels.
Well, they weren't betrayers of the Von Kessels. They were just mercenaries doing what they were hired to do. A Steel Fang company. Ruthless mercenaries. But I guess someone had paid them, and... well, that's that.
I've heard rumors. I was actually fighting in the Civil War myself on the Manfred side, so I didn't obviously get the full story. That's more than I've heard in a long time.
No, there's only rumors really about what actually happened, but people say that, well, the story that I heard was that Manfred's general, the Lord Commander, Elias Drexel, Manfred and his sister Cecilia disagreed over Drakkenheim. That's what they said. Manfred wanted to abandon Drakkenheim after 3 failed military excursions to retake the city. Cecilia thought differently. She thought that there was no one had proven that the old king Ulrich was dead. And what I heard was that Elias Drexel commanded those failed expeditions into Drakkenheim, and that it was payback, that he betrayed Manfred because Manfred had given up on Drakkenheim. And that's why he's back there now. Anyways, the Steel Fangs killed the Von Kessels. And Cecilia von Kessel herself, I assume that she probably made the arrangements for them. And she herself ended up dying only a few days later.
That's a tragedy there.
Yes. From what I understand, I think that the Lord Commander had been persuaded to switch sides and join Cecilia von Kessel, and they had made the arrangements for the Steel Fangs to be the security for the wedding, and that was that. Again, no one proves anything, but I just remember... I was told to decline my invitation to the wedding.
By who?
I received a letter. No one signed it. But I didn't go. It scared me. It only came at the very last minute. That was that.
You're probably here with us because of that. Wise decision.
Anyways, it was a year or so later, after the war had died down, that the Countess arrived, and I mean, I didn't really think much of my sickness at first. It was only really in the past year that it's gotten very bad.
And just so I'm clear, in the comings and goings of your area here, has the Countess stayed here since she arrived?
Yes, for the most part.
All right.
It used to be that I would go and report to her there, but now occasionally she does come and visit me here, since I'm not able to really travel.
And she hasn't sent out for a secondary medical opinion, obviously seeing the state that you're in?
No, she trusts her doctor. He's apparently a very talented mage and healer, so she trusts him very, very much. Odd sort, but nonetheless.
And what is this doctor's mage's name, if you don't mind?
I have it written down. Oh my god, where? Diedrich Moore. Dr. Diedrich Moore. I think he might be a court wizard of the academy.
As most wizards, I guess, around here are.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask her before the cat disappears in the midst of this conversation?
Oh my! Well, I mean, hopefully that's not a sign that I need to go find the boys. Will you just give me a moment, ma'am, so I can step out and speak to my colleagues?
Certainly, and that seems to be a good place to take our break. And we are back from our short rest. We have consumed our consumables, refilled our potions, and we are now ready to take on the next half of this fun investigation. But before we do, we have some awesome questions from Twitch chat about the book itself, which is really cool. So we've been taking a couple of these ones, and it's kind of funny because, of course, next week we will be in the Kickstarter and all will be revealed. But I'm sure we will have many more questions as we go. And we are having our Q&A on Thursday. So if you don't get your question answered tonight, please let us know that we will be back on Thursday to take even more. Son of Frast asks a great question. Will the campaign only have a book form, or will there be a digital form available also? And if so, will it be compatible with D&D Beyond? Kelly?
Every copy of the book will have a PDF version available.
Yeah, if you get a physical copy, you get the PDF, and you can get the PDF on its own. Yeah.
So digital versions are definitely available. In terms of integration with D&D Beyond, that is not something that was in our power to do. So hopefully with all of our add-ons and wonderful little items that you can get, it helps you run the game and kind of for ease of use. But yeah, D&D Beyond kind of is its own little world, and we haven't yet bridged the gap into there. I feel
Yeah.
like the only person other than Wizards of the Coast who has is Matt Mercer's content. And a few others, like there's Rick and Morty, I guess. And
but those are all official collaborations with.
yeah, we are not
like
official.
Yeah. So, and kind of a follow-up to that, a lot of people have asked us about how we're going to treat virtual tabletops, and this is the answer: is Drakkenheim in this Kickstarter will be virtual tabletop agnostic. So we will give. So what we're hoping is that you'll have the tools, basically the maps and stuff that you can use whatever VTT you want. So we'll provide you with, but a lot of people have asked, like services like Fantasy Grounds and Roll20 have modules that are downloadable that you can buy on their marketplace that are fully unpacked and ready to go. Because of some of the business side considerations involved in doing that, we won't be able to have that level of integration for the Kickstarter campaign. But if you are using a virtual tabletop, you will be able to play Drakkenheim using your virtual tabletop, and we will give you the tools to be able to do that. It just will be from a neutral format rather than like a full package. That might be something though that after the Kickstarter is over, we're going to explore further. We just don't know right now how that's all going to pan out. We know it's super important to everybody, but unfortunately there's a lot of weird business practical hurdles with getting that like super slick integration that you see with like official first party modules. So we'd like to get there. We would like to have that, but it's not, unfortunately, a perfectly easy decision. Another question that we got here from Sasha and his Russian self. Question: you guys mentioned that there will be personal quests for PCs in the book. Is there any material or guidance for DMs and players to generate custom quests not delineated in the book?
Yes. The section on personal quests details the essential pieces that you would want in creating your own personal quest. And to kind of shine some light on that, when we started Drakkenheim, we didn't even know about personal quests. The three of us kind of just made our own and integrated them with Monty into the campaign. So the book details a bunch of examples that we had considered and that also can kind of allude to some of the ideas that you saw presented in Drakkenheim. But there is also an opening to make your own. We also kind of warn you what to avoid when making your own.
One of the things that we have actually in there as a guidance for you is that if a player comes to you and says, I want to have my personal quest be about a missing relative, we actually have 3 personal quests that we've designed that focus around a missing relative. So we recommend, you can adapt the player's ideas to some, like we actually give you more inroads of how you can either customize a personal quest, because I'm not going to say that we've hit with the 12 personal quests that are in the book that we've hit every single possibility, but I do think that that from my experience running games, when player characters are like, come up with a personal quest, I guarantee you half of your player characters are going to come back to you with either revenge, or my family member is missing, or I need to get the MacGuffin for my family. That in my experience, 90% of the time when you ask a player to come up with their own personal quest, that's what they come back with. And so we've designed the personal quests to latch on to those kind of natural impulses that players have. So it might be, and so then we give you the guidance of saying what your player brings to the table. Here's how you can hack the personal quest that we've designed to do this. And the personal quests are very open-ended, and so you can also decide how much you want them to impact your overall campaign. If you want to have players that are just going to be bog standard adventurers coming into, loot and treasure, you can. The personal quests do vary in that regard. Kelly, one more question. Actually, in Dungeons of Drakkenheim, the party never actually visited the Meteor Blast site, but it was alluded to that they could have gone there if they chose to. What does the book provide in terms of that area of the city? Maps, tables, etc. Joe, do you want to answer this question?
I certainly do. Check out Drakkenheim.com on June 28th. Sign up for the mailing list. Get notified. It's going to be in there. Everything Pluto that went over his head. And that's a lot of content. So please check it out.
Yeah.
Everything he missed. Just whoosh.
Kelly, do you want to give us a serious answer?
That was serious.
Okay.
You will find the answers to your questions in the book. I'm not going to tell you what those answers are, but the crater is an adventure site in the book. It is detailed, and
Yes.
it has everything that you need to run your players going to the heart of the crater. It's probably going to be end game content, and it's pretty deadly. So be forewarned.
Yep. And one of the things, though, that we actually do say in the book is that just as the original characters in season 1 never discovered the origins of the meteor, it's actually okay if your characters don't either. So it is we've written the campaign in such a way that, like, if your characters miss stuff, that's okay. You can still have a cool conclusion to your campaign, even if they mess things up as badly as my players did.
Shots fired.
Because say we missed a lot, didn't we?
What from episode 2 when we when we started an alliance with
and I'll also say that there's a lot of ways that your own creativity can expand it in ways that we never could have ourselves. So with that, speaking of creativity, let's get back to our cunning investigators. When last we left things off, Rudy was questioning Leah, the burgomaster, as Wilhelm and Wrath were investigating around the rest of the estate. When Wrath snapped away Bruce, I assume that the group of you have now come back together. So do you all want to meet back up again and discuss things, or do you still want to do things on your own?
I think we could discuss things now.
Cool. So here's my suggestion for things. As you all come back together, you can meet in the dining room of the manor house, and the butler will bring you some tea or a drink of some kind, so you can just mull things over if you wish. Who would like to begin with your findings?
Rudy, what did you learn talking to Leah?
Well, I mean, I got some pretty interesting history about what went on around here, but I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about her illness. In general, she's been sick for a few years. She's got these, weird scabs and sores that turn into scabs that come up, and they're all over her body. I mean, it's wild. And it's not unlike any other sickness that I've seen before. And the mage doctor that came in, doctor who, Wrath, she said maybe was part of the academy. So maybe someone you might know, or maybe someone we can connect with. Didn't really give her much of an opinion on it. And that's all she's really heard from in terms of her diagnosis. So nothing really coming up there other than I think we should connect with this wizard from the potentially from the academy to maybe get some answers on that and what they think.
Any idea where the scabs are coming from? Usually, sores and scabs would have a source of some sort.
No, she said they just appeared. They've been appearing more and more. It's getting worse and worse, so it's continuing to get bad. But she says they come up in pairs, and then they just scab over, mainly on her legs and her neck, her extremities. Pairs. What were her nightmares again? Do you remember? Creature chasing her throughout the manor, or darkness?
Darkness. A creature chasing her throughout the manor, and scabs that appear in pairs. In the attic, we found... it's hard to explain. We assumed magical in nature, but it turned out not to be. But something has disrupted the dust in the attic. Sorry, did I say basement? I meant attic. In the attic, there's a disturbance. There's something has happened there. There's some holes in the ceiling, but the disturbance was not caused by wind. So something has moved through there, is my theory. So
Like
if
an animal?
this is the interesting thing. If we're putting this together, there's holes in the ceiling, there's disturbances in the dust, there are nightmares of a creature, and there are scabs appearing in pairs. This sounds like an animal attack, does it not? But one that keeps its prey sleeping.
I mean, you'd think you'd recognize that you were being attacked by an animal.
Yes, but I can't really put together exactly what it is we're dealing with. I have theories, but all of them more disturbing than the next.
What does Wrath think?
In the attic, it is not a thin place. Although it is a doorway. Whatever this creature is, I believe it enters and exits through the attic. Wilhelm found loose debris, a hole. It's quite drafty. Something uses it as its entrance into this place, and its audacity to return to its victim and keep it on the brink of life.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
It's extremely concerning. Okay, I'm going to ask this out of character because I don't want to start making things up. In this world, would Wilhelm know what a vampire is? Is that a likely course of thought?
Certainly there is folklore of such creatures.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure before I threw that out there as Will. So, okay, back into character. Have you guys heard the stories of the creatures of the night, the blood drinkers? It's old mythology, and again, not related to delirium, but I mean, the theory is that either we're dealing with one of them, or we're dealing with something trying to mask itself as one of them. But she looks as though she has lost a lot of blood. The
Agreed.
Scabs appear in pairs. She has nightmares at night of... she described it as like a... did she not say a winged...
Winged creature.
Creature. Attacking her.
Wilhelm, you can give me a history check.
Use it or lose it.
23.
Wow.
It's an encyclopedia.
There is a very old legend. There have been many houses that have noble houses that have risen to prominence over the ages of Westamar. And the legends speak of many noble houses that were the court of the night, that they had seeking the means to meet the power of the sacred flame and the Amethyst Academy. The nobility found a loophole of their own. Yet often this has been regarded as peasant whispers. Though there have been times where occasionally rumors have been said that whenever there is a war between noble houses, particularly when there's been a civil war on the scale that occurred in Westamar is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. But there have been wars between barons and wars between other rulers within Westamar of a much smaller scale. And sometimes noble houses have gone extinct. And sometimes the whispered rumors of the peasants is that this was the nobility purging the blood.
I recite this folklore to my companions.
Verbatim. Like, nailed it.
Cleansing them of the blood, I finish.
This headless rider, this creature of folklore, and this one they refer to as, or at least Craig refers to as the Morgan, some kind of controller of death. It all seems too linked. These could be just scare tactics meant to keep the fear.
But something is harming her. So
agreed. This whatever this thing is real, but is it this creature of myth? We do not know. I believe the Morgan is behind it.
we're either walking into a den of monsters, or there is a malevolent being out to get us through means of sicking monsters on us, or some person is behind this using, again, it's too coincidental that there's a collection of delirium somewhere in this town, and we come here to witness monster stories coming out of every home. Some of these are old folklore, but like they were folklore that was not necessarily acted upon in my lifetime. Like, to have it all happening here at once seems, again, too coincidental. I still think that there's got to be a connecting piece, and we're going to need to investigate further to figure that out. But now the question is, there's the lodge that we could go to. But there also might be value in spending nights here waiting for this creature to show up if it does.
That's where my line of thinking was going. If we're going to catch one of these legends, these folklore monsters, in my opinion, or if we want to bust it as a myth and someone, like you said, acting as such, I say we stay the night, protect her, and see if it shows up.
Is the butler around?
You can call him. Yep.
I don't want to call him. I want to. So I give like the look, and I try to scan for thoughts, like I'm trying to see if there's anyone like, and then I lean in, and actually I'm gonna do it telepathically. To both of you, I'm just going to say, what do you make of the butler? Do you believe he is in on this? Do we keep him wise to our staying around, or do we stalk the house silently?
I like where your head's at. I think let's...
Rudy, you are a good judge of character.
I mean, would he be taking such good care of her? Make us wear gloves and such if he really had harm intended? Probably not.
Unless he meant to keep his
Yes,
victim in the best shape.
for feeding purposes.
But why, if he was the thing, would he enter through the attic? He'd just walk through the front door, would he not?
Well, there is a
Got the key.
possibility that
Doesn't he? Probably lives here too, you know?
He just goes into the other room. He's like, can I have the bedroom next door?
But I agree. I mean, the less people that know what we intend to do, the better. Maybe we come up with a cover story. Maybe, with the intent of maybe the burgomaster invites us to stay the night.
I also think that there could be value in questioning the butler, but we leave our plans out of the questioning and our theories. We simply ask about any additional information, such as, has he does he stay the night here? Has he heard anything in the night? Any signs of the attic being opened or closed? Perhaps he could enlighten us. If he is true and loyal to protecting his lady, then he would be open and willing to give us any information he has. If he seems candid and like he's hiding something, then we will observe that and take that into consideration.
Yeah, I think this takes a bit more precedence. Like, that poor woman is on the verge of death. I think the steel fang can wait a bit. But I mean, when we have a moment, I have a bit more information about Steel Fang, but I think we should, for the moment, take a moment and figure out our plan for the night, and then I'll tell you all the other juicy bit of gossip I heard.
Sounds excited to hear. Why don't we question the butler first?
Cool.
Now we'll call for him.
Yeah.
Calling him back in, he says, I appreciate so much what you have done for Mrs. Fassbender. It has been a difficult time. Many of the staff have left with the condition worsening, and there's not been much work around the house. What can I help you with?
Just if you wouldn't mind answering a few questions, I think maybe you could enlighten some of the shadows of our investigation could be illuminated by...
Certainly, yes.
Do you spend the night here?
Yes, I do. I have the servants' quarters just off the kitchen.
At any point during the night, have you heard any strange sounds? Have you felt any sort of disturbances? Maybe gotten the inkling that something else had gotten in or out? Have you had any troubles throughout the evenings?
Yes, we've had many.
Describe
Mrs. Fassbender has night terrors on a nightly basis. Not every night, but usually 3 or 4 times a week. She will have screaming dreams in the night. She will often awaken screaming, and many times will throw herself out of bed and injure herself further. It is to the point now where oftentimes when I put her to bed, we have guards on the sides of her bed, and sometimes even I will prepare for her a tea to help her sleep through the night. And there have been some weeks where it has been so bad that I've asked if she wanted me to have her restrained before she went to bed, because sometimes I've awoken to her screams every time, and she's flung herself from the bed and been injured. She never really remembers what happens in her dreams or her nightmares. She speaks of some creature stalking her. She's now so weak. It used to be at some points that she would run outside her bedroom and I would find her in the hallways, but she's now so weak that usually she doesn't stray far from her bedchamber.
And when these disturbances happen, you rush immediately to her aid, yes?
Yes, of course. There was a time when I resolved to stay with her through the night, and it never happened. Mm-hmm. And then the first night that I did not stay in her room with her, it happened.
My next question might sound out of place, but I would like you to answer as best you can. You are the keeper of the house now, yes?
Correct, yes.
At any point, have you found the entrance to the attic ajar, or have you had to fix anything regarding the entry to the attic?
It is in dire need of repair, you understand.
I do.
But, well, there are few funds, you must understand. much. The burgomaster has spent a great deal of her fortune just trying to get medical help from the Flamekeepers and even from Dr. Moore, but there was even one point where I ordered healing potions from the Amethyst Academy, and it seemed to help with some of the scars that you've no doubt seen on her body, but not much else.
One last question for myself. Have you noticed any sort of reoccurring schedule for the attacks? And by attacks, I guess I mean the night terrors.
Attacks?
Well, she believes that a monster is stalking her in her dreams, and she wakes up bruised and injured. So we're wondering. We know that it's 2 to 3 times a week. Does it happen on a consistent schedule? Like, are we talking Mondays or Thursdays, or is it
not that I've noticed? No. Rudy, Wilhelm, Rudy Rath, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Maybe you didn't see anybody come in and out, but have you ever had a problem with pests in the house?
We have had our share. There's been the odd rodents, bats in the attic once in a while.
All right. That's all I got.
Wrath?
I want to just sort of silently, does he seem genuine with his answers? I mean, I can't read his mind, so I'm just trying to get a read on him.
Make an insight check.
9. 9?
You can't get a read on him.
If this illness returns, the guards too. There's guards present at most nights, either outside her door or beside her bed.
We do not have guards. We're not that. She is well off, but not well off. There's the local sheriff, of course, and the Countess provides her men at arms, but the soldiers that the Countess hired, they used to patrol around town, but they don't anymore. Most of them just spend most of their days patrolling the roads, from what I understand, or hanging out at that lodge.
Then we thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. I will tend to her now. Is there anything else that you need of me?
I don't think so. Thank you very much.
We have much to discuss.
Very well. Thank you. You are welcome here anytime.
Thank you kindly, sir. Appreciate it.
You brought up the lodge again. I think that our two most pressing points of interest are the lodge or this house. Something is happening here. The lodge leads us to Dulan, but now we have yet another monster mystery on our hands with whatever's happening to the burgomaster.
It may be connected to this Morgan. Although the lodge seemed to have the followers of Cormac. These two parties may be at odds.
Well then, again, the Cormac folk may be of allies to us. I'm keen to meet this Steelfang fella.
I don't know if I'd be counting them as allies quite yet. I heard some interesting information about that bunch that I'm sure will put us at odds with them.
I mean, they may be a little intense with their devotion to old gods, but I don't see that as a reason to be upset.
Trustworthiness is what it comes down to. And I don't trust them one bit based on what I heard.
What did you hear?
Yes, you said you had gossip.
Gossip is right. I mean, Mrs. Fassbender upstairs. I mean, she was talking about when all this happened in terms of her sickness, and it was not too long after the war that she found herself ill. Mm-hmm. She was talking a little bit about the history of this area, which, I mean, heard a little bit about this headless horseman, but talked a little bit about some disagreement between Manfred and his sister Cecilia, and some wedding that happened that she was invited to that she didn't go at, where there was some sort of massacre, some sort of happening there. And she said that those Steel Fangs, that group, they were the ones who were guarding the place. And they're still around here. I don't know what's going on, but how could...
What do you mean they were guarding?
They were the ones responsible for security, supposedly, at this event that happened. So some tragedy that happened not too long ago, and they're still around, and they're the ones guarding, and things are happening to people around here. I don't trust it one bit.
So you think these are the ones that work for the Countess?
These are the ones that work for the Countess.
And they Steel Fang, that Ricard Steel Fang, he must be their leader. He's the one at the lodge, the one that devotes himself to Cormac.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like they're not too clean on the in terms of their hands of what they've been involved with around this area. So seems like we have a few things leading them there. Some, that Leia mentioned, and now the druid Craig leading us that way.
And so the company responsible for guarding the castle during these past events are now residing in the Kesselwald Lodge.
That's what it seems like.
Interesting.
It just seems that we should steer clear of maybe both of these parties. If this Steel Fang is not to be trusted, by extension, this Cormac and this Morgan, this fight that's happening, it may be best that we do not involve ourselves with either party, but conduct our own comings and goings. These may not be like our ability to manipulate or persuade the paladins. This is something.
This isn't a matter for persuasion. No.
They respond by different means, Wrath.
Indeed.
We should do what we must.
Well, this just gets more and more complicated, doesn't it? I do still think that there is reason to check out the lodge eventually. We may want to pay them a visit and see what we can discover from them.
Yes,
they have a lot to answer for around this area, but I mean, at least we can ask them about why they're not doing anything about Dulon, as they are hired to do and protect.
Yeah, and they are followers of this Cormac. something, whatever it is.
The hunter. I'm surprised they're not hunting down this headless horseman, this ghost, but they seem to be leaning back and waiting for somebody else to fix the troubles happening in their area.
Or
do-gooders.
Or maybe they have their hand in a responsibility for it, unbeknownst. That is yet to be discovered. But we wouldn't rule it out, and I would take into account rule number 5, never turn your back on a foe. If we do go to investigate the lodge at any point, be wary, for betrayal is all around us, it seems. And I would be cautious as we venture forward, for we don't know who we're dealing with yet. We don't know who is on our side or who is against us, and it is best that we stick to ourselves. And as we discover the truths, we will learn who we can trust. But for now, I think that it's only the 3 of us that we can trust.
Wilhelm, your guard is up. I want to ask you, how do you feel about this butler? Can he be trusted?
Not yet. I would like to believe him. But I think that if we are to spend the night on the premises of this house, that we do not divulge that information to him, and we do it in secret. For deceit is all around us. Betrayal is all around us. For all I know, he could be a scout. He could be the cause. Or he could just be a bystander. But
if you suspect him, I will dive into his mind and pry out what remains of his consciousness.
Wrath, for the time being, I want you to do that to anybody you can in this town.
Thank you for the green light.
Only if it doesn't harm them. We're going to hold off on that if they...
disappointed.
It depends what you find, Raph.
So is that what you guys would like to do? Do you want to stake out this place during the night and see if something happens? What's your next plan?
Yes. I think I will. If we post up close by, we can even perform the tiny hut ritual to look through, remain unhidden, remain unseen. We can place ourselves in different places amongst the house and use Bruce is a fine scout.
I think if Bruce and Houdini could go on the roof and just observe.
Yeah. I'm wondering if, they say that, if she has night terror, people run in and they don't see nothing. I think we need to, at least one of us, be in the room, invisible or unseen, to see what's going on. Because the one thing I can trust in this situation is that the burgomaster, she is a victim of something. Something's going on. And I know that if we're not here and we're not present when something's happening, then we're going to miss it. What do you think, boys?
If we are going to put somebody in the room, and if we are going to be in and around the house, we need to do so without the butler knowing. Again, we do not know if we can trust him yet or not. And if he is in on it, then that means that us posting up, this butler could tell whoever's responsible and could broadcast the message that we are here. So this all needs to be done very secret. We need to be unseen, unheard. We need to be in places where we can see what is going on, but not be discovered easily. And we need to do so without the occupants of this house knowing. This is going to be tricky.
I got an idea.
Yes.
I got an idea. Wrath, can you look like the butler and we'll just tie him up in the basement or something? Or take him out of the house or something like that. Maybe give him an errand where he's not at night, and you can be the butler.
If we have many days to spare, we could see if the butler is truly against her. I am in. Rudy, this is fantastic.
I'm just thinking, like, if some of us are. I mean, he's a nice guy, but if we need to be in here and we need to put on the facade that nothing's wrong and me and Wilhelm stay hidden, you can be the butler in plain sight.
It might be worth pursuing after we attempt to catch this thing in its act. If it does not reveal itself while we are present, we should investigate the butler. He may be closer than we think. I just do believe that if we tie him up and...
Or, I mean, give him a vacation. Tell him to go home for a day to see his family. He doesn't need to know that we're
the problem
taking his
is
place. Doesn't have to be.
The problem with that, Rudy, is that by telling him to take a vacation, he will definitely ask questions about who will care for his lady here.
But Rat can suggest that you have mind tricks, right?
Yes, I suppose that is possible with Wrath using magic, but we don't want him to know that we are going to be positioned here.
True.
We want him to assume that if he is going to leave, he needs to be willing to leave her alone in the house without anybody watching. Because, again, if he gets sent on his way, even with the use of magic, if he shakes out of that spell eventually, he may contact the people involved.
That's true.
There's nobody we can trust right now. Not the druid, not the butler, not even the mistress of this house herself. We do not know what maybe somebody's listening to her thoughts. Maybe somebody is watching her. We don't know. Anything's possible, and I'm concerned.
Then, Wrath, could you potentially be the can we look at this doctor and you can be the doctor and come in and check on her? And then I'm wondering if we could use your disguise in some way.
No, I see. I
have an idea. Following along with the other ideas. What if we wait for the butler to go to bed? We infiltrate the house. Wrath turns me invisible, turns himself into the butler, opens the door to the bedchambers early in the night. I follow him in. He says that he just wants to do a check of the room because he has had a fright from the visit today, and he just wants to make sure everything is good. You can then ruffle around the room, finding a good hiding spot, which if I shuffle into that hiding spot invisibly, let's say under the bed or in a closet or behind the curtains, I don't know, then it seems less suspicious with Wrath as the butler ruffling about. I then take the position in the room and remain as quiet as possible for the night. It'll be a very long night of standing completely still, but so be it. Wrath then leaves and guards outside of the room. Rudy, you take the perimeter around the house with the two familiars on top of the roof. But Rudy, you need to also remain somewhere where you can observe, but we do not want anything to be suspicious. So we all need to hide, but keep a watch.
Yes, and it may work that we may not be able to use the invisibility, but I like everything else. It does not take much time for it to vanish.
The invisibility is simply to get me in and into position. Into a position where the invisibility can then disappear, and I am no longer of concern because the lady of the house did not see me enter the room.
Okay.
And I just keep watch. If she has night terrors and falls out of bed, then so be it. It might be awkward in the morning when I emerge from my hiding spot and probably scare her half to death. But we'll worry with what's more important is
maybe instead of the I appreciate the ability to flex my skills, although I would love to be able to turn you invisible after we fight this creature. What if we enter the room and you sneak under her bed?
I could
Just sneak under her bed. Just very simply crawl under her bed.
If you draw attention away from the door, I might be able to crawl.
Or I can remove you.
Stealthily.
Monty, can I put Wilhelm in the bag of holding, get inside the room, and put the bag of holding down on its side, and he could crawl out?
So you want to put Wilhelm in the bag of holding? Okay.
I got
lead me through. Walk me through this.
So Wilhelm gets in the bag of holding.
Okay.
I'm the butler. We infiltrate the house. I go into her room. I go, hey, everything's okay. I put the bag of holding down on its side at the foot of the bed. Wilhelm crawls out and underneath the bed.
I don't see why you can't do that, but you can certainly try.
I love that answer. That's all I needed.
I could also reduce him and make him like half the size, so he's a bit smaller. I don't know if that adds to it.
That definitely adds to it.
I'm opening the bag of holding and looking inside, and I'm just
careful. There is many concoctions that we've accumulated.
And you're going to cram me in there with all of your concoctions. Okay.
Space.
I mean, I could also misty step under the bed. Would that work? Yeah.
I mean, if Rudy and I switch spots, then Rudy could just misty step into the
behind the curtains or something.
Okay, so I assume at this point you guys have left the manor because you guys have been plotting for a while, and I'm granting you the benefit that you're not plotting all this in front of the butler.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
That's fair.
So I'm assuming that you've left the manor at this stage and are now making camp outside town, planning these things.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you want to try this tonight? And okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've got a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
All right. So your plan is after dark, you're going to break into the house.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Either you two or Wrath and me.
I can pick locks.
I'm going to disguise myself as the butler, and when I know the butler's asleep, I'm going to let Wilhelm or Rudy into the room.
Okay. So you are going, and so Wilhelm's gonna you're gonna try breaking in the front door, getting all of you in, and then
one of us will stay outside, and and Wrath will turn into the butler and go to check the room with the other one of us. That way we have somebody inside the house, somebody inside the room, and somebody outside, all observing for the night.
Okay.
Without the butler's knowledge.
I feel like we need to take this onto the tabletop to really figure out how you want to how exactly you want to do this.
And who wants to go inside?
You guys have been in the ground level of the manor before. Okay. So there's the ground level, the main level, and then the attic. Okay. And that there's the basement as well. Okay. So what I'll just show you here, and I'll just have to grab your tokens in a moment. Just make sure I'm on the right page here. So this is, from your best recollection, this is the layout of the ground floor of the manor. Okay. So with regards to that, this is the basic layout there. Okay. So you've got the front foyer where you came in, and then there is the main meeting room where you met with her, where she was swaddled up, the study, the dining room, the sitting room, and all that. So and then there's the stairs leading up to the upper level and the secondary level. So you can see there's a lot of windows and there's a lot of different entrances into the manor. The only person that you saw was otherwise in the house was the butler, who had his quarters in the room above the kitchen.
Okay. Do we try to unlock the front door, or do we go in through a window opposite the kitchen, as far away from the kitchen as possible? That way we're on the opposite side of the house of where the butler is sleeping.
And she sleeps upstairs, right?
Yes, on the second level.
I would say go for a window right by the stairs.
Fair.
Like
one of these?
yeah.
I think we should all be in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe one person in the attic, one person in the room, and one person in the middle.
Yeah.
Cool. And you are so what time would you like to attempt breaking into the house?
Actually, before we do this, one last question. How big were the holes in the ceiling in the attic?
They were they were like cracks.
Okay, so I can't fit in. Okay.
Yeah.
We wait until the last light is put out.
Okay.
Plus 10 minutes.
Plus
10. Yeah, we just wait till it's like settled.
Okay. And each of you could roll me a d6.
I got a 6.
5.
1.
Okay. Okay.
I was 2.
Very well. Shortly after the sun goes down, it is difficult to tell if any light remains on inside the house because the curtains are drawn and the windows are all closed. The evening, so the sun goes down or shortly after, say, 8 p.m. What will you do?
I can sneak up and try to peer through any, like, are there any windows that have, like, even a crack or something to peer through?
You scan around the windows on the ground floor. I'm just going to get your tokens for y'all.
Yeah.
Ooh.
These tokens are in no particular order. So that's okay. So place yourselves wherever you want to go, basically.
I think I was getting off Rudy that we wanted to be up north.
Yeah.
Like and break in near the stairs.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Rudy, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the windows are all closed, and if you recall correctly, there are iron bars through all the windows.
I do not recall correctly until this moment. I grabbed the bar. Oh, man.
Well, that will prove difficult. I hold up my thieves' tools and I'm like, I don't know about this.
The bars are roughly 2 inches apart.
Wrath, can you fit through 2 inches? You were like, it was only a few weeks ago that you had no bones, right? Have they grown back?
I've regrettably healed
Ugh,
their former glory.
I liked you better when you were boneless.
What's better than being spineless? That wasn't a shot at you, just in general.
Oh, good.
All right. I mean, can Bruce open doors?
Bruce has many talents. He sees into the cosmos. He can bend time and space. He cannot open doors.
Can you?
I can
in
open
Bruce's
doors.
mind open doors?
I can open doors. It's literally something I've been practicing for years.
Yeah, we gotta use a door. We gotta use
Is there
a
a door right here?
Is there a door right there?
Yeah.
Right over there is going to be. Let me just point them out for you, because sorry, my map makes it a little bit easier to see. exactly where the entrances are. Yeah, so that is the back door over there by the lavatory. So that is an entrance into the house.
All right, boys, before we do this, if you need to go to the washroom, there's one right there.
You mean after we do this? Because I gotta pee now.
Get her done before you have to wait all night.
All right.
It's right in there.
I'm going to get to work with my my thieves' tools.
Okay. Give me a thieves' tools check.
All right. And I have
Actually, can you Misty step through a window?
You have to have line of sight to your destination.
And I'm assuming all the windows are covered.
Yep.
I got a 26.
You deftly open the lock on the first try.
It was unlocked this whole time. We did not need you, Wilhelm.
No, I did a really good job, Wrath.
That's what they always say.
And I'm going to nudge the door open a little.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
Stealth. Cool. That's my dice are doing me favors tonight. That's going to be a 28.
Woo!
The door glides open. As you open the door, you're like, it's gonna creak. So you lift it just slightly, and it just doesn't even creak as you slide it open.
And I turn to the other two, and I do the finger on the lips, and I point at Rudy.
So you are right before. So here's what you know. Okay, the stairwell that is here before you, it goes both down to the cellar, to the pantries in the wine cellar, and upstairs, and we'll probably pass by the butler's bedroom.
But the other stairway also leads upstairs, further away from the butler's bedroom, yes?
Correct, yes.
I'm going to very cautiously, and the floors are made of wood, I'm assuming?
Yes, they're fine hardwood floors with carpets.
So specifically, I'm going to move along the outside, and I point at the other two. I do the watch, and I point at my feet, and I'm going to move along the outside. In my experience, creaky floors happen more towards the middle, where they are frequented, whereas the outside is a little bit more sturdy. So I'm going to try to move along the outside of the walls, pressing up against them, and make my way towards the other staircase.
Okay. You move through the building. Is anyone moving with you?
I follow behind with Bruce heading towards those stairs.
Okay.
And
make a stealth check.
Both of us, or am I good?
You're good for now.
Cool.
I get a 15. Sorry, 14.
Does my advice to them help the stealth check at all? Or no?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd try.
Okay.
And Bruce is just sort of fluttering behind me.
Okay. Bruce flutters behind you. Rudy, what are you gonna do?
And I'm gonna look at Rudy as I'm walking in, and I give her the eyes, and I'm gonna say in your mind, do you want to come in, or do you want to wait outside?
And I gesture yeah, I'll come in. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to instead of coming in on my feet, because I feel like the more pressure you put in, I'm literally gonna crawl on my hands and knees, kind of testing out the floor in front of me. So I'm
okay.
crawling.
So you're gonna crawl? Okay. So I will give you advantage on your stealth check.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's good thing. 23.
Nice.
Okay, I will. So you crawl into the manor house. You are able to make your way up. The group of you make your way up without causing a creak in the floor to the staircase, and up the stairs. That's where you'd like to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which stairs are we going up?
The ones further away from the butler.
Oh yeah, these ones, right?
I say in Wilhelm's head, I will send Bruce to the attic to watch the entrance.
Have him, I reply in your head, have him stay hidden. Even a cat could scare a bat away.
Okay. You head up to the second floor, where you know that the butler's room is here, and then the master bedchamber is here.
And where's the attic?
To get to the attic, you'll have to go up this stairwell.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Whoops.
Maybe
We don't need to be in the attic.
Yeah, maybe just Bruce and Houdini
Okay.
can go to
Where
the
would
attic.
you? Okay. Where would you all like to go?
Am I getting in this bag?
Yeah. In fact, you probably should have climbed in the bag a while ago.
No, there's no air in the bag. I need to hold my breath, so I'm waiting until a good time. Are you ready, Wrath?
Yes.
Right.
I'm wondering, should I go? Do we know if there's anybody in this room beside her? And that way I'll be close, but out of the way, just in case the butler wakes up.
Check it out if you can.
All right, before I get in the bag, I go up to this other spare room, and I very slowly try the doorknob.
Okay. It's not locked. It opens up to a finely appointed bedroom with a balcony. One of the windows out to the balcony, you wouldn't have been able to see it from the ground floor, but one of the windows out to the balcony, there's a crack that the window is open. Like the windows lift, and so from the ground, you wouldn't be able to see this because you wouldn't have line of sight to where these windows are from the ground, but it's just open a hair.
I immediately look to the floor to see if there's is this room also immaculate? Is there no sign of okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to signal Rudy over.
Okay.
I crawl
Okay.
to you.
Rudy crawls over. What a funny sight.
I'm going to whisper as she crawls up to me. Listen, there's a chance that if there is something coming in and out, it may be using this room. So when you get in there, I want you to hide and see if anything comes through. But this is a great spot, I think, for us to scout.
Okay. And Wrath, where are you going to go?
Under the bed.
So I am going to first get Wilhelm into the room. And then I'm gonna hide in the this adjacent room. This looks like some kind of. And where's my? I want to do this one right there.
Okay. And with that, you can all roll a d6.
5.
3.
4.
Okay. Okay.
I get into a bag of holding. This is an unpleasant experience.
You get into the bag of holding.
I go up to the door and I open it to her chamber. It's what's her name again?
Leah Fassbender.
And I take on the guise of the butler. So I disguise myself as the butler, and you
open the door. She has a face mask on and is tied to the bed.
So can she see through it?
She has a like a night mask that you would wear.
Yeah.
She has one of those over her face. She is, and you can see that there are ropes tying her to the bed.
This is convenient. And does she notice that I've entered?
She is ostensibly asleep, and and not moving. She has her night mask on, her nightgown, several blankets swaddled over her, but you can see the ropes that are secured to the posts of the canvas bed.
I want to silently walk into the room. The guise is just, I'm trying not to make any odd. It's more just if she had seen me or if she is awoken, but I'm being very stealthy about it.
Okay.
And I want to go over to. I'm going to just do a quick scan of the room, and if the map is sort of the same, if there's like a corner that I can place it in.
Yeah,
or,
which corner would you like to leave him in?
Right, top right corner.
Can you indicate?
It's Q.
Just stop, click and hold.
What about right there behind the
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to leave Wilhelm in the bag of holding right there.
I put the bag of holding down so he can be released.
So that he can get out of it?
I poke my head out so I can breathe, and I'm just a head in a bag, observing.
Sounds good.
So I'm leaving the bag there. Yeah, okay. I'm leaving the bag there, and then I just walk out of the room.
Okay, where are you going to go hide?
I'm going to go hide in this room.
Okay, you go into the dressing room. And where's Wrath and where's Bruce and Houdini going to go?
Houdini actually is... There's a what is this, chandelier?
Yeah.
Here, and it's dark.
Okay. Yeah, it's not lit.
No. Okay. Houdini's gonna hide because he's a small owl, up in the chandelier, and he's just gonna keep an eye out.
Bruce is going to come with him.
Okay.
They're going to perch in the
You can all roll
together.
a d6.
4.
4.
Oh.
Okay. You all rolled 4?
Yeah. That's special, right? That means that we win.
That's auspicious. Okay.
That means we win D&D.
I will say this. The clock strikes at the hour. And as it does, the clock strikes at the midnight hour. And as it does so, you hear the trotting of horses outside. And the wheel of carriages. A carriage parks itself outside the front of the house. And a hooded figure steps out from it. You can see this from the window, Wrath and Rudy. The figure slowly walks up to the front door and knocks. And that's where we're going to end for the night.
Oh, boy.
Oh my gosh.
All right, everybody's in position. We're good. We are going...
I'm the butler. I got to get the door. I just because I just take on, I can't just not.
We didn't tie him up. He'll go down and get it. Maybe we should have.
Wow. No, let's see where this goes.
Amazing.
I'm excited.
Amazing. I'm so nervous.
Well, with that, a big thank you to our cast for playing tonight. Our suspenseful horror mystery with Jill, Joe, and Kelly.
And a huge thank you to Kyle for everything that he does behind the scenes and for keeping it real in chat. And also, a very special thanks to Monty for running a horror mystery adventure. We got some pretty classic vibes tonight. I'm really into this. We're getting some Sleepy Hollow meets Count Dracula meets, I don't even know. This is going wild.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the reveal is.
So good.
And as always, in our game tonight, we use a variety of incredible assets produced by talented artists. They have graciously given us permission to use them in our stream games, and you can too enjoy them at your table as well. We encourage you to check out and support these amazing creators. Roll20 with the virtual tabletop custom maps made by Monty using Dungeon Draft and Wonder Draft, based on cartography by Dyson Logos, player character artwork by Jeremy Cole, NPC token artwork by Matthias Bourbon, monster token artwork from the D&D 5e Monster Manual and other source books, spell effects tokens by Gabriel Picard, and music by Tabletop Audio. So check them out and support them.
Of course, don't forget to look at the links below for our Teespring store, where you can find all of your favorite Dungeon Dudes t-shirts, including Yes, 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 Dusk Wardens, and of course, Way Bigger Than Ducks. You can check it out at bit.ly/Dungeon Dudes merch.
Our videos and live streams are made possible thanks to the incredible generosity of our Patreon supporters. If you want to join our amazing community and support our work, please consider checking us out at patreon.com/dungeon_dudes.
We also have a phenomenal Discord community that is exclusive for our patrons, so make sure to join us on Discord, where you could chat with us about all things role-playing games, but you can also join in our monthly writers' rooms and our monthly Q&As, and just come hang out and dissect every detail of what's going on in Shadows of Drakkenheim. You can also chat with us about the Kickstarter that's coming up next Monday, and get all the inside details about that as well. So if you're joining our Patreon, join us on Discord.
Yes, please head on over as well to Drakkenheim.com to be notified when it goes live. We'll be right there on Kickstarter with you on Monday. To let you all know, Kelly and I will be hosting a live stream on Thursday night for our Patreon Q&A, and I believe we're going to have a launch party live stream on Monday. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I think Monday, we're not sure whether we're going to start at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time, but we will be here Kelly and I will be here at least for a launch party for the Kickstarter on Monday, where we will be answering your questions, chatting about the book, showing some cool art previews, and discussing all the cool stuff that is available for the once we are ready to pull back the curtain and show you everything that we've got in store for you. We are so excited to share this with you. But if you want some tantalizing teasers in the meantime, head on over to our social media as well. We've been posting for the past week the amazing artwork for the faction logos. Yeah. So you can find that on our Instagram and our Twitter as well. And of course, you can check out all of our videos over on YouTube as well as usual. There'll be lots of news there too. So with that...
And be sure to join us live next Tuesday when we record the campaign live on Twitch. You can check us out from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time at twitch.tv/dungeon_dudes. And you can always watch the videos on YouTube or check them out at your favorite podcasting platform.
With that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week in the Shadows of Drakkenheim.